welcome back to Effective Living, beautiful people. I'm Coach Ricardo Miller, and I'm telling y'all, today's talk is a series of talk, but this one is a special talk. Why is it a special talk? Because I got my kingdom brother and close friend, Pastor Antoine Brown, back with us on Effective Living. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing amazing, man. This is awesome. It's always fun to be on here with you, man. Just
Man, listen, we've traveled together. We've had the opportunity to do some ministry together. We got like kindred friendship around us, and just so much in common with mindset and views and passion and so forth. Let's dive into our talk. I want to hear what's going on in your life, but tomorrow we'll be focusing most of our talk on Father's Day. What's going on in Antoine Brown's life? Tell us a little bit about what you've got going on.
well, as of last night, I am now Pastor Antoine Brown, which is huge, man.
Yeah.
I'm still still trying to wrap my head around that,
Yeah.
God is
Congratulations.
Amen. Thank you, man. It's
Yeah.
God is really creating a major shift in my life. I'm going to be actually relocating to
Okay.
Pensacola, Florida. We're
Yeah.
leaving June 28th of this month. And so
Yeah.
to head down there and just begin the work that God has called me and my wife to do. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah, that's what's going on.
Well, I know. Congratulations again to you and your wife. We're excited about this next season
Yeah.
of you guys, and God's blessed you all already. Whatever you all have put your hands to in times past,
Mm.
God's always favorably touched it. And I believe Pensacola, Florida, is going to be the better because the Bronx are coming. The Bronx are coming, and I'm excited, man. This is
Amen.
really good news, and so. Here in Texas, we're rejoicing with you
Yeah.
guys and looking forward to seeing the established work of God there in Pensacola, Florida. And please know that I'm a brother, I'm a supporter. However, I can be of assistance. Please don't
Yeah.
hesitate to reach out. Tomorrow is Father's Day. When you think about the whole Father's Day concept, I'm going to call you Pastor Brown, okay? When you think about the whole Father's Day idea, the idea of Father's Day, what comes to mind?
Wow. It's I think it's really a powerful thing. And fathers need to be honored.
Yeah,
Fathers need to be honored. I mean, the word father, not donor. I mean,
right, right. Yeah,
father.
yeah,
A father is someone who is there to provide, to take care of, to nurture, to pull out the potential in their children, and that needs to be honored.
yeah.
And so I look at Father's Day a little bit different now, particularly that I am a father, than I
Hmm.
did when I was younger. And I think it's just it's a powerful opportunity to bring honor to an office.
Yeah,
And that's the thing about it. It's not a title.
yeah,
Father is not a title. It's an office,
yeah,
because there are people who father children who didn't, they're not biological.
yeah.
And so I think it's an office that is ordained by God that requires honor.
Wow, wow. Let's talk about his Father's Day important though. The day. I mean, uh, we're going to talk about this. I have another question for this, but
Yeah.
is it important? And I like the fact that you call it, what you just did, and that is that it's an office. And a lot
Mm.
of people, I've never seen it that way, but knowing what you just said, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Now, having a day dedicated to fathers, is it important? And how important is it?
Um, I I think having the day is good. I
Yeah,
think it's good to have a day where we say we recognize the fathers and their
yeah,
and what they've done. Um, but at the same time, I think it's you know you can have Father's Day and then Monday, turn around and curse your dad. And so it's like,
Yeah.
we're gonna hook you up today, but
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know. And so I think that I think it's good to honor and recognize, who they are, honor
Yeah.
them that day. But at the same time, it's almost like the same way I look at a wedding anniversary,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
uh, or Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, you go all out and do something for your sweetheart, your wife, or whatever, and then the next day it's like, you still here, sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes fathers kind of get treated that way,
Yeah.
and so I think it's good to have that day, but I think that that day should always, to me, it should pull us back to honor and
Wow.
carry
Yeah.
that throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it shouldn't just be a day where we just do this for fathers and then
Yeah.
that's it. I think it should
Yeah.
be pull us back to kind of like anchor us almost.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? We forgot about dad. We forgot about father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With you saying that, forgot about dad. Let's talk about that for a minute. Because I mean, in comparison, Mother's Day weekend, you can't get a seat in a nice restaurant. I
Man.
mean, Mother's Day weekend, people are selling things on the corners. The
Yeah.
mall, the mall open extra sections. Yeah, I mean, it's like you go to a Walmart or a Target, and
Yeah.
it's just they got sections. That's
Yep.
Mother's Day.
Right.
I mean, Mother's Day. I think Mother's Day can compete with Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, but oftentimes, Father's Day. Some people actually even forget that there's a Father's Day.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's Father's Day weekend, huh? Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Why do you Father's Day don't get the recognition that Mother's Day get?
It's funny because, when I was growing up, they used to say that there's a CME church,
Yeah.
and that CME stood for Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter. You
See?
know, not CMF,
Yeah.
but
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right.
And so yeah, man, there's this thing, man, where mothers. I want to share this, man, because I thought it was really powerful.
Yeah.
I was watching this program. I can't remember what it was, ESPN or something like that, and they had this group of NBA fathers on there.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
were about current players, Chris Paul's
Okay.
father, Ja Morant's father, and it was about 5 or 6 of them. And there was this host, and he was talking to them about what's happening with these NBA fathers, and they were
Mhm.
sharing their stories. One of the fathers, I think it was Chris Paul's father, was sitting there, and he said that the correspondent for the game for whatever network it was came over to where they were sitting and interviewed his wife and was
Okay.
asking her, hey, how does it feel to be a mom of an NBA player and all this type of stuff? So she was sharing. I mean, he took his time with it, and so after he finished the interview with his mom, he just went on his way,
Yeah.
and he's sitting right next to his wife,
Well.
and he didn't ask him anything, and so they were sitting around talking about how even when the agents called, hey, is his mom there? Let me talk to his mom.
Yeah.
Dad is at home. I mean, we're talking about
Yeah.
guys who were there for their
Yeah.
sons,
Yeah.
who, if it wasn't for
Wow.
them, they were the ones training them in the driveway,
Wow.
working on drills
Wow.
with them. Mom was
Yeah.
there, but she wasn't doing
Wow.
everything dad was doing. But dad
Ooh.
was not getting an interview. He wasn't getting asked a question. He wasn't acknowledged. And so when I saw that, I thought about it and I was like, wow, the reason that I believe that happens, and kind of go on with your question, is because unfortunately, fathers have been typecast
Wow.
because of the negative impact, leaving their children, leaving
Yeah.
their family, not
Yeah.
being there, abandoning them. Um, how many young men and women are growing up and didn't even know their father,
Yeah.
and I think that because that happens, and because it happens so much, so frequently, that fathers get typecast,
Yeah.
and so we're already looked at as somebody who, well, he there now, but how long is he going to be there?
Wow. Yeah.
But mom has got to be there. Mom is there. She's
Yeah.
the one taking care of the
Yeah.
kids. You know,
Wow.
so it's interesting, man.
Man, that's very interesting. And how you mentioned, a lot of times you hear that I thank God for mama, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
and yeah, that is so true. And I think we as men, for those fathers that are watching, you have to decide to break that typecast.
Yeah,
That you got to tell yourself, oh no, I'm not the average man.
yeah, yeah,
I am not the average father. I'm going to exceed expectation. I'm going to go above and beyond. And I was watching the movie where Will Smith played the father of the Williams girls.
yeah.
Man, had you watched the movie?
Oh yeah, I saw it.
I
Yeah.
mean, come on, he got beat down on a park or two. I mean, come on. Yeah, but he was determined.
Yeah.
Obviously, their father was determined that
Mhm.
my girls are gonna make it.
Yeah,
And I'm going to be responsible for getting in their head. Don't let the lights get to you. Don't
mhm.
let the cheering of the crowd get to you.
That's
Those
good.
were thoughts coming from a father,
Right, right.
and we don't give enough attention to our fathers. And
Yeah,
so this is a father there who was breaking that view of
yeah.
being put inside of a box. Looking back at your life, looking at Serena and what's the other sister name?
Venus.
Venus and
Yeah,
Serena. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't keep up. I don't keep up with it. I watch the movies, but I'm not in it. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. The dad decided to establish himself to become, or if not the most influential guy in those ladies' lives
Yeah.
very early on. When you look at your life, when you look at your journey, let's talk about some of the more influential voices. You have your father, but then also there are other influential voices. How important are influential voices, and who has been some of your most influential voices?
It's very important. I've had a number of different men in my life who were like father type figures for me. Some of them I call them big brother,
Right.
but basically they did the same thing that you're talking about that King Richard did for his daughters. Um,
Yes.
my my father first and foremost,
Yep.
he has been the number one, um, the main one in my
Yep.
life who has developed me and molded me into who I am today. And the reason that it was so important and vital for him to be who he was is because he kept me centered. You
Yep.
know, it's fathers do this to me. A good father does this. There's a path. I remember reading the scripture where David says, "Show me the path of life." He's telling God, "Show me the path of life." There's a path that God has each and every one of us on in terms of fulfilling our destiny, becoming who it is that we're purposed to be. A good father may not know exactly what your destiny is. He may not know exactly what your purpose is, but he helps to keep you on the path.
Come
When you
on.
start
Yep.
to veer left or you start to veer right, a good father says, "Okay, hey, you know what? You need to straighten up your, turn the wheel this way, because
Yeah.
you're veering to the left of the victory." And that's what they do, and that's what Richard did in that movie with those
Yep.
girls. Um,
Yep.
he wasn't the best guy, you know what I mean? He
Right.
wasn't the greatest guy, but he
Yeah.
was a good father.
Yeah.
He was a good
Right.
father.
Yeah.
He kept them centered. He kept them focused. He kept them going in the direction and the path that they were supposed to go in. Now,
Yeah.
when you talk to them all these years later, they're so grateful
Yeah.
for who he was, even
Yeah.
though he wasn't the greatest man,
Yeah.
but he was a good father. And
Yeah.
so the my father has been that for me. My
Yeah.
father's been that. You're not gonna always like what your dad is telling you to do.
Come on.
It
Right.
doesn't always feel good how he
Yeah.
tells you to do what you need to do,
Yeah.
but he's looking ahead. He's seeing down the road, and
Yeah.
he's saying you're veering from the path. You're veering from where God wants you. And so he's been that guy for me. I've had other men in my life. I don't know if you know who Bishop Harold Ray is.
I know. I know,
Was oh,
Bishop.
oh, man, I had not had an opportunity to have an encounter with him, and he another thing that fathers or father figures do is
Yeah.
they help you to see something in you that you didn't know was there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's like they help you to uncover something that's been covered up. It's like, hey, lift this thing up. Let me show you something.
Hmm.
Do you
Hmm.
see that you can do this?
Yeah.
Do you see that you're actually capable here? You're I mean, it's amazing what they're able to do. So he's been a guy I've had, several other men and women in my life. One in particular last night who was part of my installation into the
Yeah.
pastorate. Um, he sat me down after hearing a message that I preached. He
Yeah.
said, "You know what, man? This was years ago." He said, "You know what? You're really good.
Yeah.
You're really good. But if you add this and you do
Yeah.
this, you do that." and and I remember sitting there listening to it, and I'm thinking, wow,
Yeah.
I'm the type of person too that because of my father,
Yeah.
which is important, my father trained me to receive instruction
Wow.
and
Good.
and recognize wisdom when I hear it.
Yes.
That was a
Mm.
powerful thing. That was one of the greatest things my
Yeah.
father, my
Yeah.
biological father, did for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so when I hear it from that man that told me, "Hey, you did a good
Yeah.
job, but if you
Yeah.
add this and this," I was able to hear the wisdom because I was
Mm.
trained to hear and receive wisdom, and it changed my life. It changed the
Wow.
way I minister and the way
Wow.
I'm able to stand before the people of God and understand how to present the gospel.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow. So good. So good.
man.
So good. Let's talk about this. Let's go right into what you just mentioned, because clearly a lot of people haven't been taught how to identify wisdom. A lot
Oh,
of people, I learned early on when no one can tell you anything, pain will be your greatest teacher. Because you're gonna learn, you're just gonna learn hard. It's just gonna be painful.
right.
But to be able to identify wisdom and submit yourself to that
Mm,
is just amazing. And to be able to have gotten that as a lesson from your dad, and then be able to appreciate it appreciate people who've been given you've been given access
mm,
to help you along the way is
yeah.
amazing. Let's talk about the challenges that fathers are facing today. In your opinion, give us 3 or 4 challenges that boy, being a father, looking at my father, looking at our society. When we think of fathers, what are some of the challenges that you think fathers are facing today?
I think the pressure of being the guy. I mean, when you look at the structure of a family, the father is the one responsible for making sure and because we're spiritual, we believe the word of God. The
Yeah,
father is the one responsible for making sure that the family is going in the direction that God sees it going,
yeah,
and so that's a lot of pressure,
yeah,
and even for those who are maybe not believers, there's still that pressure
yeah.
that I'm responsible for my family.
Yeah.
I got to make sure that everybody can eat. I got to make
Come
sure
on.
that
Yeah,
everybody has a roof over there. I got to make sure that the heat don't go out. You know what I'm saying? That the lights stay on. It's a
yeah,
and when you start to think about that, particularly with the way things are happening now, where we're pretty much
yeah.
inflation. I mean, we're we're dealing with
Yeah.
a lot of stuff, a lot of pressure, added pressures. You go to the gas pump and it's not what it used to be. You go to the grocery
No.
store, your bill is not what it used to be. And so there is a lot of pressure on fathers to perform the office or the assignment.
Yeah.
And so and a lot of times what happens is they can't handle that pressure. And
Mhm.
so that's one of those things that comes against them. And the other thing that I was thinking about is that um, the pandemic
Yeah.
the pandemic created an added source of pressure
Yeah.
because I think about my personal situation as being a father. One of the things, let me say this. It's so easy to become comfortable
Yeah.
in a routine as a father, and you have to make sure you're vigilant though.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you don't sleep. The Bible says while men slept, the enemy was able to sow tares among the wheat. And
Come on.
and and sleeping is assuming that everything is going to be okay without checking in on it.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
I'll tell you this personal situation that happened with me. I mean, it's a testimony today, but
Yeah.
there was a period where I didn't know if this was gonna be a testimony.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was gonna be able to stand up in front of the people and say, "Hey, you know what God did?"
Yeah.
It was tough, man. But I got to a place where I was allowing and I had this conversation with my son. So if he happens to see it, it's not, he's cool. But I
Yeah.
got to the point where that was powerful that I actually had this conversation with him. Got to the point where I come home and he go to his room and he just play his game or get on his
Yeah.
devices, tablets, and things like that. And that became like a daily routine.
Yeah.
And I'm not checking in on him. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
"Hey man, how you doing? Let's go play some basketball. Let's go do
Yeah.
this. Let's do that." Um, and I got busy.
Wow.
I got busy, and because I gotta make sure we eat, because I gotta make sure this is happening. That's the thing that I want to say. Balance is so important.
Boy,
Uh,
yeah.
You know, balance is perfect. Balance is probably a myth. I mean, I don't know if you can actually have perfect
Yeah.
balance, but you
Yeah.
you got to be able to have some give and take here and
Yeah.
there. And so you can get to the point where I'm so widespread. I got to make sure that my wife is happy. I got to make sure that my children are happy. I got to make sure that bills are paid. I got to make sure all this is done. That you can lose sight of some things when you get too focused in one area.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And when the pandemic hit, because there was already so much separation between me and my son, what the pandemic did is almost like throwing fuel on a fire.
Wow.
And that was the hardest thing I've ever gone through as a
Wow.
parent, is
Wow.
is trying to basically show my son that I love him
Yeah.
and that I'm here for him, even though he felt like you don't care about me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you doing your thing, and so when that pandemic hit, it was just like, I mean,
A
it was
wake up.
just
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Wow. And a lot of times people don't realize something could be brewing.
mm,
My son and I had a couple of tough conversations. Him and I, we lived together right before college, and I remember one or two times, man, I was like, boy, I want to respond like my mama responded. And that's not back in the day a situation.
yeah,
I realized I couldn't. I had to. He's different, and the times we're living in is different,
yep,
and so I had to respond differently. But having a son and me being a man and him being a young man and coming into his own, but coming into his own in a different way,
mm,
was a struggle for me too. And then there were moments
yeah,
I'm like, hey, man, there's some stuff gotta change around here, right? And then you can't force your way in.
yeah,
You are, and a lot of times we haven't been developed. We weren't taught how
mm,
to present ourselves correctly as parents. We want our children to present themselves to us correctly,
yeah,
but there is an approach and there is an angle to a parent's job to connect with the child just as much as there is a responsible behavior that should come from the child in dealing with the parent.
yeah,
And so, man, with you sharing that, I can remember saying, Lord, I need your help.
yeah,
And
yeah,
but I'm grateful, man. Thank you for being transparent and sharing that, because a lot of people think, when you're on a live session like this, or you're on a stage, or you're on a podium, you got a title, that you're exempt. You're exempt from
yeah,
tough conversation with your kid.
yeah,
You're exempt as a man from
yeah.
life's challenges. We're not, right?
Right. And you know what, man? You said something too that was really powerful, because it's something that I had to really grab a hold of and adopt in my life. Is um, you wanted to respond to your son the way your mom responded to you, and that's the thing about it too, man. I mean, life is so progressive,
Yeah,
and if
right.
you're not keeping up with the times,
Yeah, yeah,
you're stuck in how it was when I would way back
yeah,
when.
yeah.
You will destroy your kid's life.
Yes,
And
yeah,
and I think that was one of the major things that I had to learn. You know,
yeah,
when I was a teenager, we communicated different.
yeah,
You
yeah,
pick up the phone and you call somebody, a
yeah,
landline. You know,
yeah, yeah.
not too many people had cell phones when I was a young teenager.
Right, yeah,
And so, and now the way we communicate is so progressed to you can almost think and
yeah,
and communicate. So I think they're
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
get to that, that
they're
technology.
going there. Yeah,
Yeah, and so when I think about that, and I think about how I was raised, the way I was raised, and the way I raised my children has to be different.
yeah, right.
Because and that's what when you talked about Lord, you say, Lord, help me. And I
Yeah,
think that's why it's important for us to be led by the Spirit because nobody understands the signs of the times like
yeah,
God does.
yeah,
Hey, you're not going to be able to, he's not going to respond to this the way you did because
yeah,
things were different. You
yeah,
know, even down to I could go out and play and be in the neighborhood, and I mean we lived in a horrible neighborhood, but
yeah,
my dad knew what he put in me, and he knew
yeah,
what was going on that I was going to come back home.
yeah.
And today it's not like that. You got
Wow.
people shooting people. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So you have to adjust to the times,
yeah,
and I think that's what being a father is. You got to study. You
yeah.
got to study. You got to look at everything and make sure that you're protecting your family, that you're doing the right things.
Wow. So good, so good. Let's dive into this. When you look back over your life, three things you think, boy, I wish someone had told me. Oh my goodness, I wish someone had told me. And you discovered it, you living life through it, but boy, you wish. And there are some things, no matter how perfect our parents are, no matter what school you went to, no matter how many books
Mhm.
you read, something is going to hit you that you didn't know that you needed to know.
Yeah.
And the question is, now that you know it, what is it that you would say as a father on this day before Father's Day? I wish someone had told me. And let's see if that is going to help somebody because a lot of people, they don't think that, may not think that deep.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I'll say is it's not easy.
Yeah,
Um, I remember the first time, being a father and thinking, oh man, this is gonna be great. This is gonna happen. That's gonna happen. But I saw it as being easier. You know,
yeah,
it's not easy. And then I have three children with three different personalities.
yeah, yeah,
I wish I had been told that. So that's number two.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That you can't parent each child the same way.
yeah, yeah.
And so that was another thing. The other thing is I wish I would have been told to enjoy the moments,
Wow.
to be in the moments a little bit more than I was. We had some powerful moments with my children growing up, but sometimes you get too preoccupied. Even, I
Yeah,
mean, you can be on vacation in the
yeah,
greatest resort in the world, but
yeah,
you're preoccupied. Oh man, how am I going to pay for this?
yeah, right. Yeah, yeah,
But you
yeah.
there. You might as well just go ahead and get
Yeah,
it.
right. Yeah,
Pay for it when you get home. But right now, it's about this moment.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's probably the biggest thing is be in those moments, man. Be in
Mm,
your son's moment when he needs you to
yeah,
be in your daughter's moment.
yeah,
You never know when you get that how much of an impact it'll have on them even down the road. They'll
yeah,
come back to you like, Dad, I remember when you did this. I remember when we were here. I
yeah,
remember when we were there. And I don't have enough of those coming back
yeah.
because
Wow.
I didn't enjoy those moments enough.
Wow. Didn't enjoy those moments enough. And I appreciate you sharing that. It's been one of those things. I tell people I have the picture of the moment, but I still didn't
Mm,
enjoy the moment. Because
yeah.
we got caught up in, hey, let's take a picture.
Right. And sometimes they take those pictures and you looking like this. You know?
Right?
Everybody else is smiling. You like, man, this is
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, be present. They call it the present. It's a
Yeah.
gift. Be
Yeah.
present. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. For
Yeah.
fathers listening, tomorrow be present. Today be present.
Yeah.
This weekend be present.
Yeah.
Take the picture, then put away the phone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
My Pastor Kelly, they talk about, I forget the term that they use where they try to now practice, like the table is a no phone zone. So
Mm.
like, once you get to sit down at the table, you
Yeah.
put the phones aside because you want to be present. That is
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Pastor Antoine Brown, before we go, dive in and encourage our men, encourage our fathers. You know,
Mhm.
you've raised kids, you are continuing to raise kids, you're continuing to be a father that has to influence your kids in these changing times. You've
Yeah.
seen your father do what he had to do in raising you, and just go ahead and share something to encourage, inspire, and to challenge men slash fathers on this Father's Day weekend.
The probably the biggest thing that I learned with my children is that uh, as a father, I'm here to shape them. I'm here to shape them, and what I mean by that is there is a mold that God already has, and I'm just kind of here to help make sure that they're shaped. And so one of the things that I told my son is this, and I hope this helps somebody, is that um, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what's in your mind. I don't know how you feel. I don't believe I'm supposed to. I'm just here for you.
Yeah,
I'm here for you. If you go through the fire, I'm with you.
yeah,
If you go through the flood, I'm with you. That's
yeah.
what God told. That's what God told the children of Israel. He said, "Hey, if you go through these things, just know that I'm with you." And that's
Wow.
the best thing that you can do for your children is be with them, be present, be
Yeah,
in those moments, every moment, every
yeah,
major moment in their life, every small moment in their life. Just be there. And the other
yeah.
thing I'll say is this: I said it's hard, and that's just truth, but it's so rewarding.
Wow.
It's so
Yeah,
rewarding. It's if you think of anything difficult that you do, at the end of the day, you're so glad that you did it,
yeah,
and so it's so rewarding being a father.
yeah,
And I mean, I'm telling you, man, I wouldn't have it any other way.
yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Antoine Brown, this brother is a blessing to the body of Christ, and he is now preparing to launch a great work in Florida. Stay tuned, look out for the name, follow this couple. Bro, before you go, closing thoughts. Tomorrow is Father's Day. I want to say happy Father's Day to you. I
Yeah,
am extremely grateful for our friendship. I'm extremely grateful for the example that you continue to set, and I'm extremely grateful for you always accepting my invitation to be a part of these different little initiatives that I try to pull off. And so, really, 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 really grateful. And so,
yeah.
any closing thoughts before we end our talk?
Well, I just want to say I want to say Happy Father's Day to you too. And
Yeah,
you talked about those different men that have been influential in your life, and
yeah.
you're my brother,
Thank you.
and we're about the same age,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. But I think about the opportunity that
yeah,
you provided for me a couple years ago when we
yeah,
were doing ministry together in the Bahamas,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you showed me something.
yeah,
You showed me something, and so that's one of the things that my father helped me to do is to is to be able to draw that.
wow.
You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
showed me something, and I picked it up. You picked it
Thank
up,
you.
and so you just never know, man, what kind of
Yeah,
impact you have on people. So I want to tell you, man, that I appreciate you,
thank you, sir.
and what you do in your
Thank you.
ministry and your assignment. It's helping so many people. It helped me, so I
Thank you.
appreciate you, man.
Love and appreciate you too, man. Once again, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.